Meron ka bang mga trust issues? Paano nga ba mag-trust ngayong mga panahon na 'to 'no? Sino bang pinagkakatiwalaan natin and paano ka mapagkakatiwalaan? Yan ang topic natin ngayon dito sa Truly Happy Juan. Hello po, ako si Eric Calugdan. Together with us is Sir Enrico Garcia. I used to be an IT consultant for Unisys and then after that put up my own business called Infotex, no? And then also, I'm the CIO of Philpax and CTO of Sante. You can call me a serial entrepreneur. Sir Enrico, on the other hand, used to be the retail operations manager for Shell, and then after that, he became the country manager of Herbalife. After Herbalife, he became the director of operations of Avon and one of the board of directors of the Direct Selling Association of the Philippines. Now he is a mindset coach and also the director for international operations of Sante. And welcome everyone sa ating Truly Happy One. We do this every every Saturday at 5 p.m. Via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So if I were you, I'd put in my calendar na Saturdays 5 p.m. watch or join Truly Happy One, no? Saturdays 5 p.m. Facebook and YouTube Live where we discuss world-class Pinoy excellence, no? And before we go to our main topic, let us know where you are watching from. Type nyo dyan sa chat section sa Facebook or sa chat dyan sa YouTube, no? Send us your questions as well. This is an interactive session. Kung meron kayong feedback, pwede nyo ring i-type, no? And wag na rin kayong mahiya. Please like this video, comment, and pwede nyo itag yung mga friends nyo na merong mga trust issues, no? Or very trustworthy or hindi ganun ka mapagkakatiwalaan, tag nyo sila pareho, no? And i-share nyo na rin tong video para makatulong sa ating mga kaibigan. Okay, so our topic for today, Sir Enrico, is about trust. Who can we trust these days? Sige, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon, of course, to you and to our viewers, especially those regular viewers. So, yeah, 'di ba? So many issues today, 'di ba? There's so many, 'di ba, naririnig natin fake news, 'di ba? Um, and really there's a big issue now on, 'di ba, on trust, 'di ba? Among organizations, whether for, for commercial reasons or even institutions, 'di ba? And we're going to be talking about the work of the son of the late Stephen Covey. Okay? Kilala naman ng lahat si Stephen Covey, di ba? 7 Habits. Yung anak niya wrote a book called Speed of Trust, no? And it is an excellent, and I would highly recommend it, that you get this because it is excellent piece of work specifically on this topic. And that's what we will talk about, di ba? So, we will just show you some of the highlights, di ba? And ito yung ating role dito eh. Paano ba natin i-apply yan dito sa little community natin, di ba? So, sige Eric.
Ayan.
Ba't ba natin pinag-uusapan to? Can you show the next slide? Ito yung
Ayan.
backdrop.
Opo, nanonood sa atin, sir. Shoutout lang si Sharon Kalugdan, my better half. Thank you po for
Wow.
watching. Ayan. And
Thank
also
you.
si Jack C. Wong from VNG1. Sabi niya, good afternoon, Mr. Founder and Sir Rico.
Oy, wow. Thank you. Thank you for
And sabi
watching.
niya, nice about our topic about trust. Ayan.
Oh, yes. Okay. Sige.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So, Eric, bakit nga ba? So, why talk about that? And that's why who can we trust nowadays? Can you imagine? You can see what's on the screen. This was back 2005, okay? And can you imagine, this is in the US, only 22% trust the media. Itong 8% trust political parties hindi na siguro tayo nagugulat. Di ba?
Less than 10% no? Yung nagtatrust sa mga political parties.
Yes. And then, 27% lang ang nagtatrust ng government. Can you imagine that? Not even 1/3.
Oo,
diba?
Correct.
Diba? 12% trust big companies. Wow. Right? And yet, my generation, we were growing up, the whole goal was to study hard, get good grades, get into a big company. Diba? Okay. So anyway, yan yung talaga is an issue, diba? On trust. Now, this sociologist, si David Halpern, also in that study, looked at other trust issues. So this is, he wanted to measure how many do you believe that you can trust others. So only 34% of Americans believe others can be trusted. Okay? You can
Mhm.
see it in Latin America, 23%. Africans, di ba? Mas
Mhm.
mababa pa, di ba? Kasi may mga tribal issue, di ba?
Mhm.
And then 29% of Britons actually believe others can be trusted. 40 years ago, that was 60%.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, wala lang dito, but in the book, there are countries naman that are operating in 60%. Sino yun? Scandinavia. So you're talking about Sweden, Denmark, Norway, including Finland.
Mhm.
Yeah, and may kaibigan tayo, remember? May kaibigan tayo from
Yeah,
Finland, di
oo.
ba?
From
Grabe
Finland.
yung, oo, naniniwala talagang sa kanila, pag may sinabi sila at sinabi ng tao sa kanila, they really believe,
Mhm.
di ba? Kasi nga sa kanilang kultura. So, yan yung reason why we're talking about this. And what can we do anyway, di ba? And
Mhm.
why should we? Di ba? Parang, okay, so there's so much distrust and anong impact niyan?
Correct.
We'll find out in the next slide.
Ayan. Si Philip ko is watching. Sabi niya, good afternoon po. Viewing from Manila.
Maraming
Ayan.
salamat po,
Sabi ni
always.
Jack, maybe Singapore. Meron po ba tayong stats ng Singapore?
None at the moment. I'm trying to
Ah,
get, yeah,
oo.
but
Si
yeah,
Iceland, high trust ratings din daw.
yes,
Iceland.
definitely, yeah, yeah. Sige,
Ayan.
let's go to the next, di ba? Now, why ba, di ba? Why, concern ourselves with that? Kasi, in a situation or in an organization, di ba, whether for commercial or non-government or even institutions, di ba, pag mababa yung trust, eh, mabagal din yung speed. It takes a lot to get things done. And
Mhm.
syempre magastos. For example, Eric, if I didn't trust you as much, di ba? Hindi tayo pwedeng mag-usap lang and then implement na. Di ba? I
Correct.
probably would need, Eric, let's put this down in writing. O teka muna, pag sinabi mo ganito, tutuparin mo ba to? Pag hindi mo tinupad to. So, see, even in that simple conversation, makikita mo na, if the trust is not high, it will take longer. And syempre, cost is not just money. It could be
Mhm.
time. Di ba?
Mhm. Correct.
Syempre, kung mas matagal mag-execute, there's a lot of opportunity loss. Di ba? So we're not just talking, when we say cost, hindi lang pera.
Mhm.
Okay? Pero ang kabaliktaran, like you and I, Eric, mataas yung trust, mag-usap lang tayo, we don't even think about, will Eric do his part, will I do my part? We know we will do it. The trust is so high, so we get things done. Right? We've done so many projects, Eric.
Yep.
We talk about it, poof, the next day you've put it up and we run away with it, right?
Mhm.
So it's you get things done fast and it doesn't cost you much.
Mhm.
Very clear yun, di ba, Eric? Tell me if what
Correct.
I'm saying, di ba?
Tama po 'yan.
Very clear. Pagka mataas yung trust, everything is fast and much easier.
Mhm.
So, ang tanong ngayon, okay, how do we trust people nga ba? Why do we trust certain people and others no? Di
Mhm.
ba? So, let's go to the next slide.
Yung science behind, hindi lang yung gut feel lang. Hindi lang yung
Correct.
feel ko mapagkakatiwalaan siya or based on my experience mapagkakatiwalaan siya. Meron talagang science behind, no? And yun yung
Correct.
bubuksan natin ngayon, yun yung bubuklatin po natin ngayon dito sa episode ng Truly Happy Juan. Ayan.
Okay. This is the work of the Coveys, meaning the Son and the Father. And I really, matagal ko nang gustong-gusto to. Kasi, para mo raw matrust totally and completely ang isang tao or organization or institution, it has to show two key things: character and competence. Iisa-isay natin yan, so don't worry. So, character and competence. Pag yung dalawang yun, maganda at balansyado. The keyword is balance. Hindi pwedeng isa lang.
Mm.
When both of that are in good balance and in abundance, then the trust is complete and total. Okay,
Mm.
so himayin natin. On the character side, there are two important things. Number one is integrity. And nakikita nyo sa diagram, yun yung roots. Yun yung hindi nyo
Mm.
nakikita. Right?
Mm.
So in this diagram, roots are below the soil. So sa tao, hindi mo nakikita yan kagad. Ano ba yung integrity? Most people will say honesty. Yes, of course, that's important. Pero more than just honesty is yung tinatawag na integratedness. Ibig sabihin, walk the talk ka based on your values and beliefs. For example, you're a person of faith, di ba? Your faith is so strong, whatever your faith is, and you live out that faith, even if sometimes it has consequences. Then, of course, your integrity or being integrated or congruent is very strong. And obviously, people, on that attribute alone, malakas yun. But there's another component within character called intent. Ano ba yung intentions mo? Ano ba yung motive mo? Ano ba yung transparency mo by which you communicate the intent? Ito medyo nakikita to kasi, like we declare to people, let's all do this, let's all, ito yung intention ko, I will, I'll stop doing this, I'll start doing this. That mas visible yan. And kung nagagawa mo yung sinabi mo, yung intention mo, edi syempre, na-enhance mo yun. Yun yung sa character side. Sa competence is capabilities and results. Syempre, mabait ka, maganda intention mo, pero kung hindi mo alam yung ginagawa mo or wala kang kakayanan, gampanan yung dapat mong gawin in your chosen field, hindi ka rin magtitiwala ng buo. Di ba, Eric?
Correct.
Kunyari, doktor, di ba? Napakabait, very proper and all of that. But maybe in terms of results, hindi masyado in the chosen field ng doctor. Siyempre, hindi total and complete yung trust mo. Di ba? So, ganun ka-importante yan. And ang sinasabi ni Covey, kailangan balanse. Hindi pwedeng may mababa. Kasi pag merong ang mababa, ang mangyayari, the trust is not total and complete. Okay? Typically, leadership issues is because one or the other is low. In other words, hindi siya balansyado yung dalawa.
Correct.
Okay? So let's go to the details behind this, Eric. Para lang makita nila. And then, okay, we'll entertain. So ito yung pinag-usapan natin, yung sa character side. Diba? It's made up of two things. Yung integrity, which is not just honesty. Yung authenticity, di ba? In other words, di ba, you walk the talk, di ba? So kung yung faith mo is you have to live out your faith and you live it out, congruent, di ba? Walk the talk ka. Then motive, transparency, and then behavior. Yung sinabi mo, nagmamatch ba yung behavior? Naniniwala ka sa health pero naninigarilyo ka. Di ba? So syempre, hindi, di ba? And then yung competence mo, your skills, your knowledge, experience on your chosen field. Whatever that is, whether it's IT. Diba? Let's talk about Eric, diba? Ikaw, Eric, of course, alam ko capabilities, skills, knowledge, your experience. Subok ko na yun. Results, diba? Alam ko na yung results na yun kasi I'm also part of that, diba? The reputation, the credibility, and the performance. All check. Kaya pag nag-usap tayo, Eric, diba? Ilang project na tayo? Blam.
Dami na.
Eric, di ba?
Right before nga nitong start natin, di ba? Nitong episode na to, sir, nagtatawanan tayo kasi kahit yung iba nating mga kaibigan, kung saang business na tayo nagsasama-sama.
Correct.
Dami ng projects na nating nagagawa. And yeah.
Correct. Kasi yung trust is so high. Di ba? Hindi na natin iniisip yung mga issues ng ano. And the reason we keep doing things together is because there's that trust. Diba? So, hindi mo kailangan lumayo. This could be as simple even in your family life. Can your children trust you that when you say you're going to do this, you do it?
Correct.
Right? So, even at home, even at work, syempre more, diba? Diba?
Yep.
At work or in business. Sige, Eric, ikaw naman ang mag-comment para, diba?
Ayan. Nanonood po sa atin. Shout out si Miss Melanie Longno. Sabi niya, good PM watching from Antipolo. Ayan. And sabi
Wow.
ng ating isang Facebook user, integrity is honesty even when no one is looking. This makes integrity higher than honesty, connotation-wise.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
sabi ni Jack Wong, got it, Mr. Enrico.
Salamat,
Ayan.
Jack. Oo.
And Buena Fe is also watching. Ayan.
Oh,
Hello po. Watching from
our
Mandaluyong.
yes, yes.
Yes. Ayan.
Yes, yes. So, Eric, yan yung that's what we can do as individuals to really understand, okay, meron pa tong self-assessment actually, 'di ba? But
Mhm.
for the purpose of this is first understand that yung for people to trust you in whatever role you're playing as head of the family, as leader of your community, as CEO of your company or as manager of your, department or division, these are the things, 'di ba? Foundational to eh. Kasi kung
Correct,
hindi ka
correct.
kung you cannot be trusted, yun nga babagal,
Mhm.
mabagal to get things done, magastos.
Oo.
But if
Kaya
but if you
kaya
yeah,
nagkakaroon ng, red tape, bureaucracy, sir, dahil mababa yung trust, tama ba?
of course, of course, of
No?
course, 'di
Kaya
ba?
sa mga tindahan, for example, 'di ba? Yung merong mga stores or shops na kailangan magsulat ka pa ng contact tracing form bago ka pumasok. Kailangan mag-temperature check ka muna, mga ganyan, no? Kasi they don't trust you, gano'n ba 'yun? Or
Well,
merong
yeah.
mga offices na mas mabilis dahil they trust na talagang you follow the rules na 'pag may lagnat ka, huwag ka ng lumabas.
Well, yeah, I mean, pag kung empleyado mo, syempre, yung trust. Of course, with the public, it's a different situation kasi
Mhm,
talagang total stranger, di ba? Hindi mo
mm,
alam, di ba? But what we're saying here is in whatever role that you're lead, di ba? Where you're leading or, working with people, this is really the foundation, di ba? So
mhm,
let's apply it to business, di ba? Ikaw, may suppliers ka, Eric, na you
mhm.
trust, di ba?
Correct.
Because they deliver based on this model, 'di ba? Alam mo na,
Mhm,
'di ba?
mhm.
Meron ka naman brand na hindi mo susubukan kasi either one of the two ang problema, 'di
Yeah,
ba?
correct. Parang ano rin 'no, parang 'pag kumukuha ka ng driver, for example, mabait siya, okey yung intention niya, pero kung hindi naman niya alam yung pasikot-sikot, lalo na noon pa, yung before Google Maps 'no, and before Waze, kung hindi niya alam, meaning wala siyang competence, wala rin, 'di ba? Wala
Correct.
yung trust, mababa yung trust
Correct.
levels.
Correct.
Sa
Correct.
doktor, gano'n din, lalo na ano, yun yung importante kapag doktor kasi life and death situation 'yan or health related situation 'yan na kailangan alam mo paano pumili, paano mapagkatiwalaan ang isang doktor, 'di ba? One is yun nga, you look at his character or her character, 'di ba? Mabait ba
Plus,
siya, okay ba siya kausap, 'di ba? May kilala ka ba na kilala siya, 'di ba? Parang third party validation, and of course, kailangan gumraduate siya. I mean, talagang licensed siya na doktor, no? At meron siyang mga nagawa na or history na nakagawa successfully ng ganong operation, 'di ba? Hindi yung passion lang, 'di ba? Parang gustong-gusto kong maging doktor, sige, operahan kita, pero wala naman pala siyang experience, 'di ba? Hindi naman pala siya licensed doctor. Ibang scenario 'yon, 'di ba, Sir Enrico?
correct, correct. So, ang ganda, tama yung ano mo, 'di ba? So, let's look at simple examples yung sa driver. Correct. Marami tayo. Naku, si mga ano, kung pera ko, i-entrega ko sa kanya kasi mapapagkatiwalaan.
Mm,
Pero, pambihira kung drive. Pero, hindi kabisado ni Mang Isko yung mga pasikot-sikot eh.
correct.
So, you wouldn't really trust him if you needed to go to a place na alam
Mm,
kasi hindi niya alam yung
mm,
pasikot-sikot. So, yun, exactly.
mm,
Yun yung pinag-uusapan
mm.
natin. Doktor, mabait
Yeah,
lahat, pero hindi maganda ang track record in that field. 'Di ba?
yes.
O di
Mm,
syempre, hindi mo rin mapagkatiwalaan completely.
mhm. Tama, tama. Ayan. Sabi dito ni Benefit, to gain trust, aim to be believable, consistent, and genuine, and not to show perfection.
Oh, yeah, of course, that definitely, like you hear some of the good doctors, pag lumabas na yung tinatanong mo sa kanila outside of their expertise, they don't have a problem saying, that's not my expertise, but I have a colleague o may kakilala ako who's an expert in that. So,
Mhm.
they're very consistent with, alam ko yung kakayanan ko, and because that's outside of my expertise, hindi ako yun. Pero the more you enhance, di ba? The trust, di ba?
Correct, correct. Actually, yan yung nangyayari sa mga meetings ko, sir. I think na nagkaroon tayo ng ganong meeting before, di ba? Na meron kayong requirement na hindi ko talaga expertise, hindi ko kayang i-deliver. So, ang ginawa ko is I referred you to somebody else na alam ko na siya kaya niya. Kaya niya
Correct.
i-deliver yung service or product na yun. No? So, ang goal lagi natin, no, tayo as the entrepreneur, for example, so kapag nakakapag-usap tayo sa isang client, ang goal natin ay para matulungan yung client ma-solve yung problem nila. Kung hindi natin masosolve, let's be honest, di ba? And tell them na hindi po yan yung expertise namin, pero may kilala kami na pwede naming i-refer sa inyo. Di ba? Pwedeng in that instance nawala yung business sa'yo, napunta dun sa iba or sa kakilala mo. Pero dadating yung point na, alam mo yun, pag nangailangan sila ng products and services mo, yung fit para sa'yo, ikaw yung una nilang maaalala. Di ba?
Correct.
Kasi
Absolutely.
biglang tumaas yung trust rating mo sa kanila kapag yun yung
Exactly.
ginawa natin. Yan.
Exactly.
Sabi ni Jack Wong, agree. Ayan. Sabi
Yeah.
rin ni Philip, ito magandang question. Can we use this to select our leaders for the next election?
Of course, you should. 'Di ba? Kaya nga, 'di ba, choose, I'm not going to get into politics, but yes, when you select people that you will, decide to vote for, use this. 'Di ba?
Correct.
How are they as far as their character, their integrity, their intent, 'di ba? And then intent is simply yung behavior, nagmamatch yung sinasabi. Kaya nga ang baba ng political parties, di ba? Kung anong sinasabi during election, anong mangyayari?
Iba.
When rin, wala
Oo.
na, di ba?
Oo.
So, exactly, di ba? And then look at the capabilities, the competence, capabilities, and results, di ba? Kaya importante
Tama.
yun, di ba?
Tama.
When you
Correct.
select, di ba?
Yep. Magandang question ni Philip yun na pwede mong gawing checklist yan, no, sa pagpili ng kandidato sa susunod na election. Maganda ba yung character niya and okay ba yung competence niya? And kung
Correct.
titingnan mo pa yung mga sub-levels nun, mas magandang checklist yun. Diba?
Correct.
Na kilala mo ba talaga siya? I mean, hindi lang yung kung ano yung sinasabi ng media or ano yung sinasabi ng PR niya, ng public relations niya. Sino ba talaga yung pwede mong ma-validate, 'di ba? Na yung totoo talaga na news para makuha mo yung kanyang character and yung kanyang competence. Yung competence, I think makukuha mo yun sa historical ano niya, 'di ba? Performance na ito
Yes.
nagawa niya, ito napasa
Yes.
niya. Ang mahirap i-validate is yung character side. 'Di ba?
Yes.
Yung mga
And
under doon, yun yung mahirap i-validate.
correct. And that's why one of the things na yun sa government, na of course hindi mo makapture lahat, that's the principle of the SALN, Statement of Assets, Liabilities, di ba? Kasi nga, yung lifestyle mo is going to really reflect kung talagang public service ka. Kasi alam naman natin, di ba, pag public service, that's not really the best paid. If you want to make more money, don't go into government.
Correct.
'Di ba? That's the old dictum, 'di ba? Ang gusto talaga niyan is service. 'Di ba? Although Singapore, obviously, they pay them well because it also makes sense. But still, the bigger, grander goal there is you want to really serve. 'Di ba? So,
Correct.
tama 'yun, 'di ba? Kaya tignan na mabuti paano mamuhay. Actually, that's more telling. How
Ng
does the
kanilang character.
person correct? Kasi
Mhm.
hindi mo maitatago yun. Maluho ba yan? 'Di ba? You
Mhm.
can say all you want, pero the lifestyle gives it away. Or
Correct.
confirms, 'di ba?
Yep. Sabi ni Buenape, he who doesn't and cannot trust others enough should not be trusted also. Ano yung thoughts niyo doon, sir?
Well, hindi rin pwedeng blind trust, buena fe. Kasi in fact, si Stephen Covey writes about that. Hindi pwedeng blind trust. Tama nga yung sabi ni Eric. Do your to really check also. 'Di ba?
Mhm.
Like, totoo ba talaga ito, yung achievements nitong taong to? 'Di ba?
Mhm.
Lalo na with public officials, it's easy. whether lower or upper house of Congress sila, 'di ba? You can check records. Everything is of public record. How many
Mhm.
bills authored, co-authored, how many passed, 'di ba? Or kung sa executive position sila as mayor or governor, anong ordinances? Ano yung
Mhm.
collections nila? Ano yung indicators? Tumaas ba ang crime? Bumaba ba crime? Nabawasan ba ang poverty in their, among their constituents? Yun yung dapat sinusuri, 'di ba?
Mhm. Pero
To
sa ano
check.
sir, sa non-political, sa mga kaibigan, sa mga kamag-anak, yung phrase na yon, yung someone who cannot trust or ano yun, yung question ni Buenafe, who doesn't trust, no? Should not be trusted also. How do you apply that sa non-political?
Non-political, yeah. Yung
Mm.
kung hindi siya nagtitiwala, 'di ba?
Yes.
I wouldn't say naman 'di ba? Because kung siya hindi nagtitiwala, I don't know what reasons niya, 'di ba? And
Mhm.
anong thoughts niya. If I were to trust that person, even if I found out na hindi siya nagtatrust ng iba, I also need to just scrutinize how is he as a person, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Ano yung character niyan? As much as I can find out, 'di ba? Ano yung kung
Correct.
sa integrity and an intent niyan. Kasi it doesn't necessarily mean hindi siya pwedeng pagkatiwalaan. Maaaring he's had a lot of, he himself has been a victim of trusting blindly.
Mhm.
Kaya naging reaction niya. It doesn't necessarily mean he's not trustworthy, right?
Correct.
So do your own part too, 'di ba? In the course of your you don't give your trust immediately. None of us do,
Mhm.
'di ba? Over time 'yan, 'di ba?
Mhm.
As you get to know the person more, parang tayo, Eric, sa umpisa, okay, we were referred, you were referred to me, and, I kind of cross-check, but until we started to do things together, until I personally saw how you did business, that was the only time that the trust really became total and complete,
Mhm.
right?
Correct, correct. And
So,
based dun sa ano rin sir, 'di ba yung sa matrix natin kanina, wala dun yung does he trust other people, 'di ba? So parang
wala, yeah.
hindi 'di ba? So hindi yun yung
Hindi.
criteria na tinitingnan natin.
Hindi nga, hindi nga.
Oo.
So, yun yung answer kay Buenafe kasi it doesn't necessarily mean ang ano mo dito, focus mo is meron kang way ngayon and actually you do this already. All we're doing here is just identifying it.
Mhm.
Ginagawa mo na 'to, pakinggan mo yung sabi mo, "Ay naku, ako 'di ba, I like dealing with Eric kasi alam ko anong nasa puso niyan." I always say that, 'di ba?
Mhm.
And wow, he has delivered on the many projects that we've done. So subok ko na yung pareho, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Kaya alam ko na, 'di ba?
Yun yung criterias. Yes. Ayan,
Oh,
sabi ni Jack Wong, being transparency and truthful will generate more trust. Correct.
absolutely, absolutely.
Correct.
And dun mo makikita, maganda yung sinabi ni Jack, no? Maganda
Jack, yes.
sinabi. Oo, kasi kung minsan may consequence 'yan.
Mhm.
Oo, may consequence 'yan.
Mhm.
Lalo na in corporate setting or where there's a little disjointed or hindi aligned yung there can be consequences and dun mo nga makikita is the person living his or her values even if sometimes it may compromise their position or wherever they are.
Correct.
Kung integrated ka dun, 'di ba? Sa paniniwala mo, wow, your credibility will go up, particularly in the integrity side.
Correct. Ito, may magandang question din. Sabi ni Benefe, can you financially trust the advice of someone whom you know is facing financial difficulties?
Maybe not so kasi that's swinging over to the capability, the competence.
Competence. Oo.
Oy, sinasabi mo sa akin, "Halika, sumama ka sa akin, yayaman ka." Tama ka, first question. Yan ba? Are you living what you're talking to me about? Kung
Correct.
pati ikaw nagsa-struggle, siyempre hindi magiging mataas yung trust mo, 'di ba?
Yep, no? And actually, yan din yung mini-mention ko sa ibang mga webinars, no? Na be careful on whom you accept their opinions, 'di ba? Kasi if you accept their opinions, you also acquire their lifestyle. 'di ba?
Correct.
Do what they do and eventually you get what they get or what they have, 'di ba? So, kung
Correct.
nakikinig ka sa isang tao na financially challenged about financial advice, most probably you will also have financial challenges, 'di ba? That's why
Mm.
nga yung pinaka-effective talaga na teachers are those who have experience, 'di ba? Yung the most effective entrepreneurship speaker is an entrepreneur. 'Di ba? The most
Agree.
effective engineering teacher is an engineer. 'Di ba?
Correct.
Dahil alam nila yung mga pasikot-sikot, alam nila on how it works, no? And yun nga, if you really want the lifestyle of somebody, your role model, then sila yung pakinggan natin, no? Hindi yung ibang tao. Tama ba, Sir
Correct.
Enrico?
Correct. 'Di ba pirmi natin sinasabi, Eric, if the person you're listening to is living what he or she is talking about, yeah, you should
Mm.
listen. But
Yep.
tama si Buena Fe, yung nagsasabi sa iyo, oh, this is what you need to do. 'Di ba? Yun nga yung irony, 'di ba? Makikinig ka sa investment banker.
Correct.
no no disrespect to them, but how can you really completely trust when they themselves, if especially if they don't have their own money in the very thing they're
Mm.
talking about?
Correct, correct.
How
Ayan,
will
sabi ni Jack, haha, financial advisor but financially challenged naman. In fact, I think yan yung challenge ng mga financial advisor na nagsisimula pa lang. Yung
correct,
wala pang ano, 'di ba? Wala pang track record, hindi pa malaki yung kinikita nila or ito yung parang first gig nila being a financial advisor. Ang challenge talaga is yung competence level mababa, no? And
correct.
the solution to fix that issue is to bring in somebody with competence. 'Di ba? Yun yung ginagawa natin, sir, 'di ba? Doon sa
ABC.
mga dati nating businesses, yung ABC, no? Na somebody na merong competence, so siya yung magfi-fill in nung competence part, pero ikaw, since ikaw yung kaibigan nung prospect, ikaw yung friend nung prospect, na meron kang character. 'Di ba? Of course, dapat maganda yung reputation mo doon sa friend na yon. So you have now both, you have your character, and since wala ka masyadong competence kasi kakasimula mo pa lang bilang financial advisor or sales agent or marketer, 'di ba? You bring in somebody na merong competence. You now have both. So when you have both, then you build trust and people buy, 'di ba? When they like you and they trust you. Tama ba, Sir Enrico?
Absolutely. Yep, natumbok mo. Exactly. 'Di ba? Yung iba kasi bago pa nga sila, wala pa 'yun, 'di ba? So tama 'yun, you introduce somebody who's more credible.
Mm.
And 'di ba? So yun nga, yung
Correct.
credibility is because yung kinatatayuan ng tao as a person and ano yung na-produce niya, 'di ba?
Yep.
'Di ba?
Ayan.
So
Sabi ni Jack, I usually in the first glance simply trust someone and allow time and situations to tell me if that person is to be trusted.
of course, most people probably do that, 'di ba? And yeah, it can go right, but it can also go the other way, 'di ba? Of course, that's always your choice, 'di ba?
Mm.
And we're not saying but you know what to look out for, 'di ba? And in that case, you're making a decision. Sige, I'll give the trust first and let me see how the person unravels. Meaning, 'di ba? Will he
Yep.
measure up on both? And if not, then syempre you kind of withdraw your trust or minimize your trust or completely remove your trust. So yeah, of course you can do
Yes.
that.
Ayan. Sabi nga ni Bonifay, give your trust but do your verification and due diligence. Correct.
Yes. Meron version niya na natutunan ko sa Shell. Hindi ko makalimutan yun. Ang ganda nun. You can trust but do not tempt. Di
Do
ba?
not
So,
tempt.
meaning, pwede mo pagkatiwalaan, pero yun nga, di ba? Gawin mo rin yung part mo. Di ba? Na yung
Do not,
due diligence.
oo.
Tinetempt mo rin eh. Kasi kung
Tinitempt,
blind trust
oo.
nga eh.
Correct, correct, correct. Parang
Di
sa
ba?
ano, 'di ba? Parang sa tindahan halimbawa or sa bahay na lang, yung mga kasambahay natin,
Mm.
'di ba? Pinagkakatiwalaan mo yung kasambahay mo, pero don't tempt them by just leaving yung mga expensive stuff, gadgets or even cash kung saan-saan, 'di ba? Itago pa rin natin, 'di ba? Wag na
Correct.
natin silang i-tempt. Yun yung ibig sabihin siguro nun, sir. Tama ba?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yan.
So, interesting kasi talagang when you think about it, it's really foundational eh,
Mhm.
yung trust. Siyempre, pag
Yep.
wala yan, how can, it's very hard and nakakainis or it's such a pleasure. 'di ba? Kasi
Correct.
nga either mataas or 'di ba?
Yep. Ayan. May question si Boniface. Sabi niya, should you trust somebody just because you are of the same faith or comes from the same region and other common things?
Well, if we will look at the ano, then absolutely not just that. That's one of the things that you can use. But again, it goes back. Does the person exhibit and is consistent with his or her faith? And then going beyond just faith is syempre, yung sabi natin, yung ano ba yung competence, di ba? Yung kakayanan
Mm.
on a particular field, di ba? So, syempre kung friendship lang, well, meron pa rin. It's still the same, di ba? You get to know, you get to, learn about the person, di ba? Kaya nga maraming pag na-break o na-betray yung trust, for some people, it's so hard.
Mm.
Kasi they give that trust. I'm not saying that's not good. Normally,
Yeah.
most people nga, trust first and then let them betray it or confirm it. Di ba?
Correct. Correct. And
May
siguro
mga,
yung sa mga tao na yun nga no na nasaktan or naging biktima ng mga ganyan. I think magandang parang way din for them to analyze ano yung nangyari, saan nagkamali, sila ba yung may mali. Makita nila dun sa matrix, 'di ba? Balikan nila yung matrix. Pwedeng kulang pala sa competence, hindi niya na-check or kulang pala dun sa
correct,
character side, hindi niya na-check, no? So, yun yung mga pwede nilang balikan para next time, 'di ba? Next time you know how to select, 'di ba? Ano yung criteria before you trust somebody, no?
correct. Eric, you just reminded me, mapait na experience to. I was very new in Shell many, many years ago. And
Mhm.
one of my colleagues approached me. Sabi niya, uy, we're doing this in the Forex market. Busy-busy ako nun. So I gave my hard-earned savings. Pero
Mhm.
kasalanan ko yun kasi hindi ko naman inalam kung ano ba yung capability ng tao, may competence ba. So anyway,
Mhm.
nawala yun, Eric. Umiyak ako dun. Hirap
Wow.
na hirap na hirap ako to raise that money and I lost it, 'di
Mhm.
ba? Simply because, I didn't really check if
Mhm.
they
May
knew what they were doing.
character. May character sila pero hindi na-check
Okay,
yung competence.
correct. It was a
Mhm.
painful lesson for me, 'di ba?
Mhm.
One that I learned from, 'di ba? Mali
Yeah.
rin, 'di ba? To just give the trust on the basis of kakilala ko, kasama ko sa kumpanya,
Yes. And
'di ba?
related 'yan dun sa question nga ni Buenafe, no, na parang familiar kayo or merong something familiar or common sa inyo kaya medyo mataas yung trust mo pero yung trust mo kulang. It's just the character side ng trust, wala dun sa competence side, no? So the
Correct.
more actually, isa rin yun sa lessons din namin sa church kasi sa church namin meron kaming study, no, na merong topic doon na how to do business with Christians and stay saved. Yun yung topic. Kasi maraming ang na ano diyan, nadadapa, no, na nagkakamali. Kasi mataas yung trust niya because of the character side. Pero wala dun sa competence side. Hindi nila double check yung competence side. Kaya nagfe-fail, no? So, ganon, kailangan nating check talaga both sides, no? Character and also yung competence. Ayan.
Correct.
Sabi ni Jack, yes, yes, totally. It's a practical way of mindset. Ayan. Sabi niya, walk the talk talaga. And may
Yes.
question siya, paano yung nagbebenta ng condo units? They will encourage someone to buy millions of pesos but the agent or broker wala pang unit. Paano yan?
Well, hindi naman sa, they're doing that as a profession and it's up to you. What you can look at is how have they served their clients. Kasi hindi
Mm,
naman siguro kailangan, 'di ba? Alam mo ginagawa niya 'yun to earn a living eh. So,
mm,
hindi naman being dishonest 'yun, 'di ba? And kailangan mo naman talaga ng bahay. I'm sure gusto nun magkaroon, 'di ba?
yep,
Ng sarili niyang kondo. Ang tignan mo is how he or she has delivered on their promise. Kasi baka pagkatapos mabenta, hindi na inasikaso yung papeles mo, marami ng ano, di ba? So, tignan mo yung part na yun para mo masabi, o sige, gusto ko tong broker na to. Di ba?
yep. Kung paano sila
Tignan,
mag-serve.
yeah, yung capability, yung kanilang competence. Alam ba niya yung
Mm,
pinag-uusapan niya, yung proseso, alam niya
yes,
lahat, binanggit niya lahat, tapos ano yung results niya? Sino na bumili sa kanya? Is he one of the best producing, highest commission earner? 'Di ba? Those
yep.
are all nagpapatibay nung kakayanan niya, yung competence niya. And pag maganda yun, at saka yung karakter, kasi maaring okay yun, pero salbahe o bastos. May mga ba ganun, arrogante. Ano, may pera ka
Mhm.
ba? Kung wala. So, I mean,
Oo.
see, pag may imbalance, yun nga, hindi total and complete yung trust. Pero
Correct,
pag
correct.
maayos, meron naman napaka-malumanay, pero pag tinanong mo na nung detalye, hindi alam.
Wala na.
Hindi mo rin mapagkatiwalaan. Mabait, you like the person, pero hindi masabi sa akin kung paano yung magiging down payment, kung kailan ko babayaran, kung kailan ko
Mhm.
makukuha yung TCT or CCT, di ba?
Correct.
So, yun naman yung sa competence side, di ba?
Yep. And dun din naman sa mga brokers, no, or sa mga real estate agents, isa sa mga pwede rin lang gamitin is yung storytelling, di ba? Sabi nga natin, facts tell, stories sell, no? So they can say stories about their customers na ito binili ng customer ko, binili niya yung unit na to noong 5 years ago or 2 years ago, ito yung price. Ngayon ito na, or ito yung condo binili ng family kasi ayaw nila yung ganitong size kasi medyo malaki yung family nila. Yung mga ganun, 'di ba? Pwedeng hindi nila sariling story pero it can be a story of
Correct,
their customer. 'Di ba?
correct,
Doon lumalabas din yung competence ng isang agent na marami siyang samples, marami siyang stories na pwedeng ikwento, 'di ba, sa customer.
correct. Eric, actually, you reminded me. In fact, there was one that sold me this. Sabi niya, Sir, kausapin niyo itong customer ko para malaman
Mhm.
niyo how I serve them.
Mm.
So, nagulat
Mhm.
ako that he opened that up and he really encouraged me. Di ba, sir, syempre, kung ako, baka mamaya, ano. So, he was that confident. Sabi niya, para, you can also really hear it from a disinterested party. Meaning, sasabihin lang naman ng taong yung kung ano talaga yung naging karanasan niya, eh. Di ba?
Correct.
Wala naman siya dun. So, that really increased the, because I spoke to the buyer and happy yung buyer.
Mhm.
Di ba?
Very
Siyempre,
good.
pwede mong tanungin kung may relation or may ano, but, you know, you do a couple of that and hindi mo madadaya yun eh. You can try to hide it, but if talagang walang kwenta yung service mo, lalabas at lalabas yun. If
Correct.
you search it, di ba?
Yep, ayan. Sabi ni Rosel Suwan, tag with someone with a competence that you lack. Correct.
Yeah,
Ayan.
yeah.
Oo.
That's a better way of even doing it, diba? Get somebody who's very competent so that you learn, and if you don't have enough experience, let that person exactly piggyback ka dun para matulungan ka. In fact, I hear some and I really like it when they say, "Sir, I'm so new, pasensya na, but I'm very new, so I'm not yet, hindi pa ako ganun kagaling, so I invited someone para matulungan ako." Wow,
Yep,
'di ba?
correct. Ayan. Sabi nga ni Jack Wong din, blind trust is expensive.
Of
Yan.
course, hindi rin
Kaya
puwede
nandito ang Truly Happy One para mabawasan yung mga ating mga pagkakamali, no? At mabawasan ang mga loss natin.
yeah,
Ayan. Okay, okay, after sales service is important to me. Yes, agreed competence. Correct.
yeah, yeah,
Yep. And question. Are the ones in power and position better deserve trust than the inferior ones?
not necessarily, not necessarily. There are some good ones too who are in position and they really mean well. They really want to serve their country or their constituents. Hindi natin puwedeng lahatin. Meron talaga iba by not just by words but by their behavior, they have helped their constituents, 'di
Yep.
ba?
Ayan. So sabi din ni Buenafide, they say, the best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. So this belief is too risky, sir?
Well, again, for you to trust them, it will go back nga to the two things. 'Di ba? If you give blind trust, that's your choice. 'Di ba? It can work and it may not work. 'Di ba?
Mhm.
But you have a nice way now also of sa totoo lang, you don't completely trust somebody you still don't know. Right?
Correct.
Now, if you choose to give all that trust, it is a risk.
Mhm.
Pwedeng mabetray yung trust if you don't know enough.
Mhm.
Right? But ultimately, it's your choice whether to trust or not trust somebody, regardless of what you know or found out about the person, right? It's
Correct.
your call, di ba?
Yep. And follow-up question, positive and negative feedbacks from social media are where most customers refer to for their trust. Is that a good basis?
Um, yeah, reviews, di ba? Ayan, Eric, e-commerce, di ba? Pero
Mhm.
ako, I also cross-check eh. Sometimes kasi, alam mo naman yung review, kung hindi mo ano, di ba? Siyempre, yung first encounter mo with a brand, mataas pa yung distrust. Kasi nga, first encounter eh.
Mhm.
It's like you, when you go out with somebody, di ba? Parang, teka muna, you are waiting for things to unravel para mo masabi kung mapapagkatiwalaan to. Hindi, you can't make, unless you choose it, no? Na, o sige, I'll
Mhm.
trust you. And then bahala na. Di ba?
Mhm.
Of course, you can do
Correct.
that. Di ba? Pero, I would really look. And ito, maganda yung sinabi mo, hindi lang yung positive. Tignan mo yung negative.
Mhm.
Kasi it's from the negative na makikita mo.
Correct.
Di ba? Doon mo makikita. Lalo na kung very ano yung tao. Naku, kaya ko sinasabi to, hindi lang dahil ano, dahil ito yung nangyari, ito yung experience ko. Bigyan mo
Mhm.
ng weight yun. Uy, wow, di
Yep.
ba? Di ba?
Look at both sides dapat, 'di ba? Naalala ko
Yes.
meron tayong
Tayo.
ganyang
Episode.
encounters, oo, na may episode tayong ganyan, and yung before pa, years ago na experience natin na maraming mga vlogs na against dun sa ino-offer natin, 'di ba? Na
Correct.
illegal daw, na hindi daw siya totoo, yung mga gano'n-gano'n. Pero when you look at the details and yung background ng mga nag-post, meron silang ino-offer na iba na
Correct.
competitor nung in-offer natin, 'di ba?
Correct.
So
Correct.
lumalabas yung mga post na yun, yung motivation nila is not really to give truth, kung hindi to put down the competition para sila yung makabenta, 'di ba? So
Correct.
yun din,
Ibalik.
ingat din tayo sa mga gano'n.
Correct, Eric. Ibalik mo yung slide dun sa yung breakdown, yung matrix. Nandun yun eh,
Yung
yung
matrix.
intent. Ano yung
Aha.
intent?
Ay,
Ano
ayan.
yung motive mo? 'Di ba? Yung sinasabi
Mhm.
mo ngayon, ayan oh, ano yung motive mo? Yun
Dito,
oo,
oo.
sa example mo, yung motive is hindi ibigay yung totoo about the company. Sinisiraan mo kasi meron kang binibenta.
Mm.
Hindi ba?
May
You're,
hidden agenda pala. Which is
oo,
actually, yan din yung nangyayari ngayon, 'di ba, sa politics, 'di
exactly.
ba? Na
Exactly.
ayun naman, palabasan ng ano, ng basura, pero hindi mo alam behind the scenes ano ba talaga yung motive nila,
Ay,
'di
of
ba?
course, 'di ba? Kaya nga 8% lang naniniwala sa political parties. Can you imagine that?
Mhm.
8%, 'di ba?
Correct, correct.
So, 1 in 10, 'di ba? Hindi pa nga eh, 'di ba? Bawas
Hindi
pa ng
pa,
konti, 'di ba? So,
oo.
yeah nga because yung incongruence, 'di ba? Hindi nagwo-walk the talk.
Mhm.
Sinabi ito pero yung ginawa taliwas. Eh
Iba,
siyempre paano
tama,
paano mo pagkakatiwalaan 'yun, 'di ba?
correct. Sabi ni Jack, dapat trust with assessment.
Yeah.
Correct. Due
Yeah.
diligence, yan, very
Yes.
important. And
Yes.
question, how hard or easy is it to gain trust in this time of virtual and digital marketing, especially for MLMs?
Babalik ko dun sa behavior. Good question. Good question, Buena Fe. It really comes down to, yun nga, ano yung motive mo. So ako, in one of the ano, I tell them, hey, look, this is my experience, but I encourage you, do your own due diligence. Listen to me, ask others, and, do your research, right? Complete it, di
Mhm.
ba? Don't just trust me, even if you knew me, right? It's in your interest to cross check. It's ultimately your behavior. Ultimately, the person knows if you really care about their interest. You can try to fake that, but I dare say you cannot hide it all the time.
Correct.
Lilitaw at lilitaw yan.
Tama. Whether good or bad, lilitaw yan at
Yes,
lilitaw. Ayan, magandang
yes.
question din. When your loyal customer shifts to another supplier, would you say his trust in your product or service has been lost already?
Well, not necessarily. It could have been that there was an instance where the person was not happy, and the way the response of the lack of response is what has made them feel bad. It's not necessarily they've lost trust. They're disappointed. right? And
Possible.
if,
Mm.
yeah, and if they're disappointed because they were not apologized, nobody apologized or tried to, you know, work with them in why, what happened, right? Then they may choose not to be loyal to you. It doesn't mean that they don't trust you, but they can simply say, "This is my way of dealing with, because of that incident. I'm probably gonna try something else." It doesn't mean I don't trust you anymore. Has it diminished a bit? Yes, because of the lack of transparency or yung intent mo to right the wrong, 'di ba?
Correct.
Kung may maling ginawa.
Correct. Or possible din na nung time na bibili siya, walang inventory, walang available. Kaya siya
Right.
nag-shift to another supplier. So maraming scenarios pero again hindi siya indicator that we've lost the trust of the
Yeah.
customer.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ayan. So, ang ating question sa ating viewers, no, what are your takeaways? No, type niyo po dyan sa comment section or chat dyan sa YouTube para makita rin ng ating ibang mga viewers, no. Ano nga ba itong mga takeaways natin for our topic for today? Ako, ang aking takeaway for trust to happen is you have to have both character and competence, no. Character includes integrity na kailangan you walk the talk nga. Kung ano yung sinasabi mo, yun yung ginagawa mo talaga. Kung ano yung hindi mo kaya, sinasabi mo rin. No? You are honest, you are authentic, whether your competencies or your weakness, you say it. No? That's integrity. And competence naman is based on the results that you have done, no? Your track record, no? Yung mga customers na na-serve mo, yung testimonies ng mga customers can actually be part of your parang competence level, di ba? Kaya very important that you take care of your customers before, during, and even after you transact with them, no? Dahil lahat yan mag-i-equal into a higher character and competence level, therefore higher trust rating, no? So, remember, people buy from you because they like you and they trust you. Without both of them, walang sales, no? Walang benta sa business. Ayan. Sabi ni Buenafe, not everyone will believe what a supplier would promise, but when customers experience it for themselves, it's the start of their trust. Ayan. And
Yep.
people who cannot be trusted with little things cannot be trusted with bigger responsibilities. Correct.
Ay,
Actually, biblical yan.
syempre.
Oo. If you cannot be trusted with small things, you cannot be trusted with bigger things. No? So kung gusto mo ng mas malaking bahay, kailangan you take care of your existing small house. 'Di ba? Yung mga ganon.
Correct.
Ayan. For business owners, a lack of trust is your biggest expense. Ayan. Sabi rin
Yeah.
ng isang Facebook user, trust plus integrity equals good. Ayan. And,
Yep.
ayan, sabi ni Boniface, never be afraid to trust on an unknown future to unknown God, as it said in Isaiah 26:4. Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord God is an everlasting rock. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Kayo, Sir Enrico, your summary for our topic
That
today.
you've said it already, yung dalawa, and really the key is the balance. For
Mhm.
me, yun yung takeaway. You have to balance it for the trust to be complete and, sabihin natin total. 'Di ba? Kasi pag may konting imbalance between the two, hindi nagiging complete. So the key for me, takeaway is balance.
Balance the two.
Be
Correct.
the two. 'Di ba?
Ayan.
So,
Okay,
yun.
so our topic next week is learnings from teenagers in the women's tennis finals. Konting kwento dito, sir, sa ating episode next week.
Yes. Yes, there's a lot to learn. Unknown to, well, I love sports, and about 2 weeks ago, in the U.S. Open, the last major for the year, no, U.S. Open in tennis. Okay, this was the first time, at least I've seen, where you have two teenagers who are in the finals. O, so, okay, anong ibig sabihin nun? Can you imagine an 18 and 19-year-old and one of them was a Canadian of Filipino descent make it to
Mhm.
the finals? And if you when I share with you the where they came from, it is almost impossible as to what they did to get to the finals. I don't want to spill the beans now because it is a beautiful story and
Wow.
a lot of learnings from it. This just happened 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Two
Abangan natin yan.
teenagers.
Oo. So that's next week, no? Lalo na yung mga kakilala nyo na teenagers, marami silang matutunan dyan next week. Para hindi nyo ma-miss, make sure that you subscribe. Click nyo lang yung red subscribe button dyan sa baba ng YouTube. It's free, walang bayad pa mag-subscribe. And if you go to Facebook, meron tayong Facebook group na Truly Happy Juan. Yung link papunta doon, nasa description din itong video. Click nyo lang po yan. Okay. So, ang ating ending always sa ating episode is our Panatang Makabayan. So let's raise our hand and mention ang Panatang Makabayan. Iniibig ko ang Pilipinas, aking lupang sinilangan, tahanan ng aking lahi. Kinukupkup ako at tinutulungan upang maging malakas, masipag at marangal. Dahil mahal ko ang Pilipinas, diringgin ko ang payo ng aking mga magulang. Susundin ko ang tuntunin ng lipunan. Tutuparin ko ang tungkulin ng mamayang makabayan, naglilingkod, nag-aaral at nagdarasal ng buong katapatan. Ialay ko ang aking buhay, pangarap at pagsisikap sa bansang Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po and we'll see you again next Saturday, 5 p.m. dito lang
Salamat.